I see some of our students are starting to come on here. So while you're coming on, we just want to say good morning and we want to say welcome. We're very excited that you've been admitted and we're really hopeful to have you on our campus in the fall. We know right now it's springtime, but we are excited to talk about the fall, what it's going to mean for our students at Binghamton. Good afternoon, good evening if you're coming to us from different parts of the world. I'm going to introduce our panelists quickly before we get started, and I'll start with Professor Mark Reisinger.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you.
Next, we've got two of our students, our current students. We've got Silver, who's a junior here at Binghamton University.
Good evening, guys.
And then we've got Jojo, who is a sophomore here at Binghamton.
Hi, everyone.
And finally, we have Monica, who will be on our chat, and she will also be typing our closed captions at the bottom. So any questions you have will most likely be answered by Monica throughout the presentation. And after that, we will all take a look at those questions and see if there are any that we can answer live for you. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will get started. So we're going to talk today about what the fall is going to mean for our Binghamton University international students. We are mainly going to focus on those students with an F1 visa who may be brand new students and what that's going to mean for them. We may touch on the other types of students too, including those I-20 transfer students who are still in the US and I-20 transfer students who are not in the US who have returned home. But we're going to start with just an overview of what it's going to look like. So why should I come in the fall? Why should we come in the fall 2020 instead of just waiting until the spring? So Binghamton University will be providing a series of college courses that you can take online to start your career at Binghamton, even if you can't be with us in the fall. So what does that mean? We know that it may be the case that a lot of our students may not be able to get their visas in time because we're going to have difficulty with visa appointments. There may be a backlog. So we have a plan for that. We have a plan for our students to come and engage with us even in an online setting. We know that a lot of students are still currently taking online classes. You may not love them. Well, at Binghamton, it's a different experience, and that's partially why we've brought Professor Mark Reisinger on, and we've brought on Silver and Jojo. They're going to tell you about their experiences teaching online courses, how it functions, what it means, and so you can really understand what you might be getting into if you do come to Binghamton this fall. So the first advantage we'd like to talk about is the fact that at Binghamton, our instructors are really open, they're really welcome, they really love to engage with our students. So you'll be talking directly to your instructor, and you'll be talking to other students in your online courses. You're going to be taking classes with these American students as well. So we won't just make all of these classes, these online classes, for our Chinese students only. These classes will be offered to any students across the board who would like to take these general education requirements, and you'll be taking group coursework with these American students and engaging in conversations and discussions with them. So this coursework, of course, will take place virtually. We have been using Zoom for a while for our courses now, and we expect that may continue, but we know that it's not going to be a time where you're left on your own and you have to just memorize the material and then take a test. We will be engaging with our students. We want you to interact with students here on campus, to do group projects together, to complete them together, to work together. And there are a lot of ways that especially Professor Reisinger can speak to as to how this will happen. And we are also planning to have at least 50% live synchronous instruction. So what live synchronous instruction means is we won't make you be getting up in the middle of the night to be online while everyone else and your classmates are online. It may be a class at this time of the night. You know, it's 8 p.m. for our Chinese students. It's 8 a.m. for in the U.S. But this is still live for both of us. It's a time that's, you know, able to work for both areas all around the world. So we'll schedule at different times of the day that work not only for our Chinese students, but for all of our international students. And we want to make sure that we strategically plan those classes so that we are allowing the capabilities for multiple students from various time zones to be able to take these synchronously as well. The second advantage we have is that the tuition rate will be much lower. So the full-time tuition for the campus, if you're on campus, is $12,330. The tuition for the online courses is going to be substantially lower. And part of what makes that attainable is the fact that our students can choose their own course load. So if you are taking those classes online, you don't have to take a full load of 12 credits or 16 credits of courses. You can choose to take just one course or just 2 courses in the fall. But any course that you take in the fall will be one less course that you have to take in the spring, and it will be a course that will help you stay active and engaged, and it will also help you learn the style of Binghamton's teaching and what it means to be a Binghamton student. So we want our students to be part of our Binghamton community. We mentioned before, you will speak directly with the faculty. We will have synchronous times for you to set up and meet and talk with your advisors. You will not be left out in the dark. We will have tutoring and study sessions, and we will have our English Pairs program where we will pair our international students up with American students to have one-on-one conversations to be able to practice their English so that when you arrive in the US, your English may be better than it would be if you were to wait until the spring. You can also see parts of our campus. We are going to virtually invite you to some of our special events, some of our club organization events and activities. And we'll be sending videos to help you feel engaged on campus and to be able to see different parts of campus that we'll design specifically for our international students, knowing that we are already including you as Binghamton students on our campus. It won't be a matter of waiting until you arrive at Binghamton to see what it's really like. We're going to try to show you what it's really like as well as we can, even starting in the fall. Our fourth advantage, and this kind of speaks to choosing those courses, is you will be able to get a jump start on earning your general education credits. So general education credits and that concept is slightly different for other students from various international countries that may not have a similar curriculum style to the US. So I'm going to explain what that means here. So our general education curriculum helps students develop personal expression, intellectual curiosity. They're all things that help our Binghamton students become well-rounded global citizens. And these are requirements that all of our Binghamton University students have to take during their first year. So whether you are a Harper student, our School of Management students, even our Watson School of Engineering students, they still need to take some of these education general requirement classes that will be able to be taught online. So our plan is to allow students at least one option for each general education requirement so that these classes, which you may have already had to take anyway, will be offered online so that you can get a head start and finish some of those classes before you start in person in the spring at Binghamton. So we'll kind of give you a look at what these general education requirements look like. For our language and communication piece, you have to take either a C and a O course or a joint communication course. We have our foreign language requirement. We have our global interdependencies requirement, our P, pluralism in the United States. And then for the liberal arts, we have our aesthetics courses, humanities, laboratory sciences, social sciences, and mathematics. So we're going to try to offer as many these options online as we can. We do understand that some of our students are A-level students, our AP students, our IB students, and you may have completed some of these already, but it's very, very unlikely that our students have completed all of these. It's very difficult to do just in your high school, and we don't want you to. We want you to be able to experience what that's like in a college learning environment, especially in the US. It's a very different college learning environment from other countries. So we really want to help you get a jump start on taking some of these general education requirements. And what that's going to do is once you've completed these, when you come to Binghamton, you can start working on your major requirements as soon as you need to so that you're at Binghamton, you can really engage with what major you want to really delve into the specifics and engage even further with your instructors. So the other thing you can do is we want to make sure that you're going to maintain a Binghamton University standard education. Binghamton University has been called a public Ivy League school. Our students are very bright and they're very smart, and all of our students, our international students with our domestic students, are all joined in the same classes and the same tracks. We do not separate our international students to take separate classes. So we have very high expectations for our students, and we want to make sure that you are going to maintain that standard. And the best way to do that is to continue taking Binghamton University classes in the fall, even online, so that you know what our Binghamton University classes are going to expect of you when you arrive in the spring. This will also help improve your English language ability. You may be taking classes right now in a foreign school. You're taking classes with American professors, with British teachers. It's still a different environment than a college learning environment at an American university. We expect you to think broadly, think globally, and produce your own ideas, and do it all collaboratively, and do it with other American or other students, all in English. And so being able to continue that English ability with learning your classes and taking those courses online in English with our Binghamton University professors, but also with those English language conversation pairs and other resources that we have available on campus, they'll make sure that you have the skills and the tools that you need to succeed once you do arrive in Binghamton in the spring. So we know that there are concerns with COVID, and what does that mean for our students? Currently, we are all online as well, and all of our services are still available to our students. Our international student and scholars services, they will still be trying to put out the I-20s as best they can, work with our international students on any questions they have, our Multicultural Resource Center, our University Counseling Center, and then also our Writing Center, our tutorial services. All of those things will be available to our students and our international students online in the fall, so that if you do need help with coursework, you can still contact our tutoring services. If you'd like to talk to advising, you can set up a virtual meeting with an advisor at a time that works for you, and the advisor will work with you. We really want to make sure that our students, our international students, feel included at Binghamton, and that we can offer the services to help and support you, understanding that we're all going through a very difficult time. So some things to remind our students about before we get into some of our teacher and our student stories. We do still have our May 1 deadline. So in order to officially become a Binghamton student, we need you to pay your deposit before May 1. If you submit your financial documents as soon as possible, it is not the same as depositing and becoming a Binghamton student, but that allows us to process your I-20 document and to send it to you as soon as possible. So ideally, we do those things together. We can receive the deposit, and you can also submit your financial documents, so that we still want to send you your I-20 document as soon as we can. It may be possible to come in the fall, but we're not positive yet. So we want to do everything we can to ensure that we're doing our part to get you the documents that you need as soon as possible. Without that I-20, you are not able to schedule your F1 visa appointment. So we want to make sure that you have your I-20 document in hand as soon as possible in order to schedule that appointment and allow those things to continue in a timely manner, knowing that there very well could be a delay. So now I'm going to turn it over to Professor Reisinger and some of our students. So Professor Reisinger is actually won a Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Teaching and a University Award for Excellence in International Education. And he is no stranger to teaching online, teaching internationally, teaching some of our Chinese students in joint programs. So we have experience at this, and that's something that Mark is going to talk to. So we're really excited to have him on. So Mark, I will give you the floor.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Once again, hello, everybody. I hope you're having an awesome evening wherever you happen to be in the world. I think most of you are probably from China. As Carrie said, I do have a lot of experience in this area, teaching students here and in China collaboratively. I've been doing that since 2012, and actually JoJo, who's with us, was one of my students when she was in high school in China, and she worked with Binghamton University students. And so I'll talk more about the course I teach in a few minutes, but I think JoJo, do you want to talk about your experiences?
Hi everyone, my name is Jojo. This is my second year in Binghamton. So I come from Jiangsu. My major is in economics and my minor in education. So I used to be Mark student in URP program. It's a program called University Readiness Program in my high school. So my high school and Binghamton, we have a cooperation. So we have this program. So anyway, when we take this program, we need to stay in China and some part of American stay in America. Then we have the course together. So I remember in that time we need to take the course at 8 a.m. In the morning, and Mark teach us in American about in 8 p.m. So actually it's reasonable. So you can schedule your time. So mostly we use the Zoom. Now we actually use the Zoom now, and I feel that this is a very convenient app. So you can download the Zoom in your phone and your computer, and also both Mac and Windows can download it. So you don't need to use VPN to unlock it. And also, I feel that the internet and the signal is not very bad. So furthermore, I want to talk about the homework and test. In that time, our homework, we need to upload it to Mark. And actually, all of the students in Binghamton, we have a website, and everything you need is in that website, and every information, every homework you need to do is actually very convenient. Maybe you sounds very complex, but actually I feel nervous about this, but then I feel that it's actually very easy. You get everything from the website, so get used it. And so about the test, we actually have the test online, so teacher actually will tell you the how to have the test online. It's actually very easy, and most of the tests I feel like that is changing to the multiple choices questions, so it's actually very easy to do it online. So another thing, I think some of you will worry about the English skills, because when I in high school, my English is extremely terrible. So I very nervous that I maybe cannot understand everything from the professor. But actually, because a lot of international students in Binghamton, especially Chinese, so we have a lot of Chinese TA in almost every class. So if you feel like anything that you don't understand, you actually can ask these TAs. You can even add their WeChat so you can communicate with Chinese. And also we have a lot of English course, so help you to improve your English. And also we have a conversation circle and some many activities to help you to improve your English. So don't worry about English this part. And I think you need to be confident of your English. And so when you don't trust yourself, you just need to pay attention to explain it very slowly. So I feel that most professors in Binghamton, they are very nice to students, especially Mark. He is the teacher in Binghamton, and I think they will pay attention to listen your word. So don't worry about the English part. So this is, I promise, all the information I want to mention. So I know this is a very tough time for you to through it. I know you will feel very nervous about it, but I think everything will be okay. So if you need anything, you need help or any questions, you just ask me by email or WeChat.
Silver, can you tell us just about your experience in Binghamton and what you've experienced now going into these online classes just this semester?
Yeah, sure. So good evening, everyone. My name is Silver, and I'm a junior, and I'm a linguistic major, translation and French minor. So now I'm gonna share how I feel about moving the course online. So for me, it does not make too much difference. So this semester, I have a history lecture, a French advanced conversation, a Chinese translation workshop, project management for translation, Chinese class teaching assistant, and tap dance. So everything is basically the same what we had in person, except my tap dance class, which I can talk about more later. So for the rest of the 5 classes we have courses at the regular schedule on Zoom meeting, and we will have smaller breakout rooms for group discussion in class. And students can also share our screen when we do the presentation, and the professor will record the whole session and then upload it on my courses for students who miss a class or just want to get back to it. And our professors and teaching assistants office hours are still available online via Zoom meeting, and they are always ready to help us. And we still have homework and essays to submit online, and the format of the quizzes and exams are subject to change according to the professors. So for example, in my French class, we used to have the printed quizzes on class, and now our professor make the quiz online in the form of Google survey. So it's more convenient for her to gather all the answers, and then we will receive the keys for the quizzes later so that we can check out like whether we do it right or wrong. And in my Chinese class where I work as a teaching assistant, the students will have their dictation on a piece of paper and then we'll show it to the camera, and then I will screenshot each of them and grade it with a highlighter on the images and then give it back to them. And they will also take pictures of their handwritten homework, and I will also grade it with the highlighter. So they send their homework as a PDF, and I will grade on the PDF and then get back to them later. And for my tap dance class, it's a little bit more challenging. So now we seldom have the synchronous class right now. So our instructor will record the tutorial videos for each step we need to learn. And then along with the music, of course, and we can practice at home whenever we want, and then record what we have and then get back to our instructor. So the instructor will actually grade on the videos. So he understands that it might be difficult for some of us to tap at home. So he actually lowers the standard accordingly, like tapping on the carpet in tap shoes or just tapping bare feet are also acceptable as a last resort. So even though tapping at home may not come out as well as in the in-person class or in the rehearsal room with the mirror, we all try our best and just never give up easily. So I know everyone is getting through this, so you never feel alone. I guess our professors are even more lenient or caring with us due to the situation right now. And our university also adjusts some of the policy this semester. For example, students can choose whether to keep a solid letter grade like A, B, or C, or to choose pass or fail of the courses when the semester is over. So usually we have to make the choices during the semester. So you can see that our university actually cares more about our health instead of our grades. And yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna share. Thank you.
Thank you, Silver. Carrie, can you change the slide?
Yep, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue on our way, and Mark will now share a little bit about how he teaches his classes and what that means for you as an international student in the fall if you're not able to come to Binghamton.
Okay, so as I said before, I've been doing this since 2012 actually is when I first started teaching this course to students in China and also students here in the United States. And so this is what my classroom looks like in the United States. These are my American students, and on the TV in the background would be the students that are in China or wherever you happen to be in the world. And you can see actually what the students are doing in this photograph is they are actually working on a project with the students in China via WeChat. So you can see the students are, at their computers, and they're collaborating with their classmates in China. So in my class, like I said, you'll take this course with other first-year American students. There'll be about 15 students here in the United States, and however many students sign up for the course in other parts of the world. And one of the things I'm really try to emphasize is collaboration between the two groups of students. So you'll work on projects together. You'll actually work on a research project together where you will do research on a particular country. Your group will select that country, and you will do, you'll analyze 5 different aspects of the geography of that country. First would be the physical geography, the population geography, the economic geography, a bit about the cultural geography, and also the political geography of those countries. And then at the end of the course, near the end of the course, your group will actually present to the rest of the class. And now, I don't have a photograph, but the way that works is we do it through Zoom, of course, and the students in the international students will present their part, and then the American students will present their part to the entire class. So it's a very collaborative course. I really try to emphasize students working together. The course also is collaborative in the sense that I actually don't lecture in the classroom itself. Typically what I do is I will make my lectures available to you to watch outside of class. And then when we come into the classroom, we will actually discuss the lecture. Okay, I'll prepare a series of questions, and you and the American students will work together to answer those questions, and you will answer those questions obviously as the pair or the group, but then you'll also present your answers to the rest of the class for discussion. So it really is very collaborative in nature. This course satisfies, as you can see, for the Gen Ed's global interdependencies, or the G, and the social science and Gen Ed requirement. I hope you can see that you're learning a lot more than just geography in this course. You're learning to work with American students. You're working in a collaborative environment. You will be using English in the classroom, so you'll be improving your English skills. One of the things I tell my students who take this course, actually I tell all my students, is when you graduate from college, more than likely, if you're working for a big firm, you're going to be working in a team with people from all over the world. And so this is a great opportunity for you to get that experience in working as part of a team with people from different parts of the world, and understanding their different cultures, right? People have different work cultures. You'll be learning a bit about the education culture in the United States, which is different than the educational culture in China, and something that you'll actually need to get used to as you, when you eventually do come to Binghamton. The education culture, it will be different. One of the other things I really emphasize to first-year students is university life is very different than high school. And I think that's really important, not just for international students, but also for our American students who come to the university. Think about your high school days. You know, they're very structured, right? You go to class, you go to school maybe at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you have a series of classes. Then you'll have your lunch and your break, and then you'll have a series of classes after that. So your day is very much planned out for you. In the university, it's not that way. It's very unstructured in a lot of ways. You may have, you know, just one class on Monday or Wednesday, you know, and then you have the rest of the day, you know, A lot of students will say free. Free time, it's free time. It's not actually free time because at the university, you're also expected to do a lot more work outside of the classroom than you are inside the classroom. Okay, so I think this will also help prepare you for that as well. Less structured days than what you're used to. Um, Another important thing about American University and its educational culture is, and especially for my classes, I really want my students to learn how to think critically. I think it's really important to think critically, um, to be able to ask good questions, right? To be able to analyze different viewpoints and perspectives. And that's really one of the reasons I love teaching this course with both American students and international students, because we all view the world in somewhat different ways. And this really helps all of us to understand those different perspectives on the world, which I think is really important. And, you know, American students will have a different perspective on certain issues than Chinese students or Korean students or Japanese students. And I think it's really important for us to be able to understand all those different perspectives. And this course will really help you to do that. And so, like I said, you will learn geography. The title of the course is World Regional Geography, and we will be going around the world and looking at different regions of the world and so forth. Um, and, and you will definitely learn about those different regions, but you'll also learn a lot more. And I think that's really important for you to understand. I teach the course two days a week, usually meets for about an hour and a half each day. So we would be meeting in person twice a week for about an hour and a half with me and the American students. And Carrie, I think that's all all I have for right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I did provide Carrie with my contact information, both email and WeChat. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me.
You can contact us for further information at international@binghamton.edu. For any of our friends who are outside of China or our inside of China friends who use WhatsApp, you can add us on WhatsApp. And for our Chinese students, you can scan our QR codes to add us on WeChat or follow us on Bingyu Sudi. I'm sure maybe a lot of you already do have us on WeChat, but we'd love to engage with our current new students, and we want to make sure that we're sharing as much information as possible. And the majority of the ways that we do that are on WeChat with our international students or via WhatsApp in our admitted student WhatsApp group as well. So I'm going to open the floor for questions right now. If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to put those in the question and answer session. I quickly want to talk about, I know we talked mainly about this is going to be for these F1 students who are brand new high school students who do not have a visa yet. It's likely going to be that you may have to choose to continue with Binghamton online in the fall. For our students who are transfer I-20 students, so they have been in the US for high school, they're transferring their I-20. If you're still in the US, it will not be, fall online will not be an option. It would be in violation of the visa. So those students will have to continue at Binghamton in person. They would not need a visa appointment to continue. The students who do have an I-20 who were studying in the US but may have since returned home, those students may have the option to be online if they so choose, or to continue in the spring. But we really do hope that our students will join us in the fall. I think we have one question here asking about the updates for fall 2020 undergraduate students. So for our international students, this is our update, all right? We're hoping to be able to offer all of these online options, knowing that it may be very unlikely for our students to obtain a visa in time. For our current domestic students, we still don't know. It's a constantly evolving situation, and we will share that information as broadly as we can. It may be the case that we're all online in the fall, but we just don't know this far ahead. And so as soon as we know anything, we will share that information with our admitted students as soon as we have it. One of our students here is asking about, they have an undecided major. If they want to choose the online course, how should they choose those courses? And do they ask the TA for help for choosing the online courses? So Mark, maybe can you help answer that?
Yeah, so if you have, if you're haven't decided on a major, my advice would be to take gen ed courses because those are courses that you definitely have to take. Actually, I kind of like it when students come to the university undecided or what we like to call exploring, because it really does give you the opportunity to take courses in a variety of different majors to help you decide what you want to take. So the example I always use, and Carrie, excuse me for promoting my own department, is that almost nobody ever comes to the university to major in geography. Take my word for it. I was the undergraduate director or undergraduate advisor in geography for 15 years. And in those 15 years, almost nobody came to the university to major in geography. And we usually end up with about 150 majors. So the reason we end up with those majors is because students take our courses, they like our courses, they find out what they can do with a geography degree, and they decided that it's something for them. And that's not just geography, of course, that's every major here at the university. A lot of students come in undecided. They explore by taking courses in a variety of different areas, and they find that they really enjoy something, really like something, and that they can make a career out of it. So, but my advice for first year students would to focus on the gen ed courses. I think that would be your best option.
Thanks, Mark. And I think that's really the sentiment that we're trying to share with this session as well, is those gen ed courses are requirements, and there's no way that you've fulfilled them all the entire time that you've been in high school. So taking those general education requirements not only puts you a leg up on getting that coursework done so that if you come here and you do know your major, you can start with your major. But as Mark mentioned, if you're still exploring and you don't know what your major is, one of the best ways to find out what you enjoy and what you engage in is by taking those general education classes, which is what we want to offer to our students who may have to go online in the fall, is that we have those options. They will be synchronous. You will be engaging with American students, and you'll also be able to satisfy all of those, we call them alphabet soup of general education requirements, right? We've got A, we've got N, G, O, P. So all of those courses, they have to be satisfied when you come to Binghamton. So you'll be working with an advisor who still have an online orientation over the summer, if that is the case, and that will be, there'll be plenty of instruction for you and how you choose those courses and how you register for those courses. We'll make sure to share that information with you every step of the way. So we really do want our students to, again, just feel welcome at Binghamton. You may not be able to join us in the fall in person, but we really want to make sure that you feel engaged, you feel that you are already part of a Binghamton community, and that you're already working towards your degree, even if you're not here on campus, by completing those general education requirements, interacting with our faculty, working with our academic advisors, joining those language pairs and those language conversations, and being able to interact with our students and learn about our social clubs, so that when you come in the spring, we say you can hit the ground running and you can learn as much as you can from Binghamton before you even arrive, so that you already feel you are part of Binghamton, you're part of the Binghamton student. As far as housing concerns, we will be sending out instructions for the spring that will be the same as the fall process, so there won't be any disadvantage to that. A question here about the textbook. So will it be delivered in the form of electronic book or in mailing? Mark, how about your class? Maybe you can share about that, and that might be similar to some other classes. What do you use for some of your
So in my class, I do have one textbook, and that is available both as a hard copy textbook if you if you prefer that. Some students actually prefer to have the actual book, but it's also available in electronic form as well. So in my class, it's you can choose either. Um, I think most textbooks today are ebooks that you can purchase if you prefer to have ebooks. I personally prefer ebooks. But some students and some of my colleagues, faculty colleagues, actually prefer to have the hard copy book. So, it's pretty much whatever your choice, quite frankly.
Thank you. Okay, and we do have a question here about the AAT program. I know that some of our students have been in the AAT program before, and we have officially canceled the AAT program. So what we will be offering a variety of services. We mentioned we will have ESL classes in the fall for some of our students, and make sure that they have those access to those. And that kind of goes along with what we said about those English language conversation pairs, students who will be actively engaging with our American students to improve their English. Those are the students we really want to make sure we are going to come alongside you. We will offer you a variety of services and support to make sure that when you get here, you can succeed. As I mentioned, our Binghamton students are very, very smart students, and that includes you. We've accepted you into Binghamton, and we have high expectations for you. So part of that, if you have been invited to our academic achievement training program, it will not longer be occurring in August, but we will be offering some of those ESL classes online in the fall to make sure that you will continue that English. So those will be offered along with our general education requirements to make sure that students can get the support that they need and to make sure that the English continues to improve. That's really what we want for our students. We want our students to succeed. We want you to be able to achieve your goals. And one of the ways that we know we can do that is by offering our services and offering our English Language Institute support services in those classes for any students who may need a little bit of extra help with the English before they arrive at Binghamton. So please don't worry, if it's canceled. We really are going to help you, and we're going to do as much as we can to make sure that when you come in the spring, you're prepared for your classes, and we really want you to be prepared. So that's why we're really hoping that you're going to take advantage of taking classes online with Binghamton in the fall and being able to continue that education up until the point where we can have you visit our campus in person. If there are any other questions, we can offer them now. I know there was one question here about the I-20. So the nice thing about taking the online classes is you do not need an I-20 to take online classes. Once we send you your I-20, you will not need a new I-20. That I-20 is valid for the entire period that it states on that I-20. So you can just keep that I-20 for whenever you are able to get your visa appointment, whether it's August, whether it's October, November. You can keep that I-20, but you can still be taking these online classes even without having the I-20 and without having the visa. So that's one of the great things about taking the online classes. It will not affect your I-20 status. It will not affect your visa. You can still be in the process of applying for your visa and getting your visa appointment and getting everything booked and making those plans while taking these online courses. And as we mentioned, you do not have to take a full load of online courses. You can take just one, just two, you can take 4. It's really up to you. We encourage you to take maybe at least 3 or 4 so that you can get more of those general education requirements out of the way and done. And that will help you, as Mark said, engage more with students outside of class. Make sure that you're working on those group projects. That the more classes you take, the more interaction that you're going to have, not only with our faculty members, but also with other students here at Binghamton. And you may begin to make friendships and start your college experience strong. We really want that for our international students, and that's our hope, that being able to do this will foster some of those friendships and those class engagements even from the very beginning. So I think that's let's see. So as I mentioned, there's the AAT classes. It's not a pass-fail, and the AAT program will not be continuing now. So our students who were invited to that AAT program, they'll no longer be part of the AAT program, but it's just extra support. Those students who are offered the AAT program, you're already a quite high quality student, and we recognize that in our students. So we will be offering additional English language support, but it's not a specific class that you have to take again. It was a preparation program. Because it's no longer available, we'll be making sure that we have additional extra support services for those students who may need help with the writing. They can go contact our writing center with those English conversation pairs. They can contact our English conversation pairs as part of our English Language Institute, and we will be offering a variety of ESL courses online in the fall as well, so that they can stay strong in that academic side. And that's It's not to say that students who may be invited to the AAT program, you will only be taking ESL classes. You will be able to take those general education classes as well, and we want to make sure that you're engaging not only with the English and improving your English, but improving academically and staying at a high academic quality that we expect of our Binghamton students. As Silver and Jojo mentioned, collaboration is key here. And Mark was talking about making sure that you're thinking broadly and knowing how to answer some of those tough questions. Those are the things that we want from our Binghamton students. And so if you've been invited to AAT, you may be asked to take some ESL classes in the fall, but we want to make sure that you're also taking those general education classes so that you're well-rounded when you get to Binghamton and you're prepared for our classes when you come in the spring. If there are any other questions, let's see. The exact time of online courses. So we mentioned that it's 50% synchronous, and Mark's class was a really good example. So it was offered at 8 p.m. in the US here in Binghamton, which means it was offered at 8 a.m. in China, which is in a reasonable time. I know some of our Chinese students and other students in the world wake up at 6 a.m. and get to class at 7. So 8 a.m. is a reasonable hour. And that's the time when you come together to work with your students to discuss the lecture. So as Mark mentioned, his lectures, they go up online and you watch them beforehand. So you choose when you're going to watch those courses. You're not going to watch them in the middle of the night if you don't want to. Maybe they're posted at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That doesn't mean that you have to watch them at that time. You can watch them when you wake up. You can watch them all the time during the day in your home country, wherever that may be. But then that synchronous time, that time that you come together to talk about the lecture, to work on group projects, to be in the classroom, that time will be 8 a.m. in China, 8 p.m. in Binghamton, or vice versa, something that's not too difficult. And about the VPNs and the homework site, you should not need a VPN to get on the homework site. Those are the things that we are working towards right now to make sure that our students have access to the online content that they need to be able to access. So we'll try to make sure that the email is accessible, especially as Jojo mentioned. She was a student in China in high school and took this course and had no problem accessing the My Courses and some of those functionalities that we use at Binghamton. And then of course Zoom, which is how the class was conducted. And those things did not need a VPN either. So our goal is to be able to offer these classes to students such that you do not need a VPN in order to take the class, because we do understand that that would be a burden. We don't want the students to have any difficulties like that. So those are some of those things that we're really trying to work with. We understand what our students need, and we're working very, very hard to achieve that goal for our students. So I think with some final thoughts here, Mark, just let's briefly we'll go around and share with us what makes Binghamton different. I know you've been doing these online courses for 8 years, and that's great experience. I think there are a lot of universities that don't have that kind of experience teaching international students, and in fact, you've won an award for teaching international students, and I think that's amazing. So maybe you could just share a little bit about our programming, how it differs from other schools that these students may be thinking about attending.
Yeah, actually, there's a number of things that I would like to tell the students. First of all, I think Binghamton, we really care for our international students. I think we really appreciate our international students, and I think any of the students on here can tell you that they receive tremendous support from their faculty. So I think that's one thing that's really important. Binghamton is, a fairly large university, but we, at the same time, kind of have a small college feel to it. One of the things that we didn't mention is that I'm also what's known as a collegiate professor for one of our residential communities. So I'm actually the academic leader in one of our residential communities, Newing College. And again, if you have any questions about any of the residential issues when you eventually do come to the campus, you can reach out to me to ask any of those questions. So by having a faculty member in the residential communities, I think that really emphasizes our concern about the academic excellence of our students, right? we really do have some, as Carrie mentioned a number of times, we have some really awesome students here. I love teaching here because of the students and how smart they are, how in some ways even challenge me on my thinking about different subjects and things like that. And I really appreciate that from our students. You should never be concerned about speaking to a faculty member. Um, we want you to be successful. I think that's the key. We want you to be successful, and whatever that means to you, whatever success means to you. We want you to be successfully academically, but we also want you to be well prepared for when you leave Binghamton University to whatever you go on to, whether it be graduate school, if you go into the workforce. We want you to be successful there as well. So yeah, I think that's um, what I got.
Thanks, Mark. Silver or Jojo, do you have any final thoughts about what it's like to be a Binghamton student, and maybe some final words of advice that you can give our students here who are watching?
I want to say like studying Binghamton, it's a brand new experience for me because I'm from Beijing. Beijing is a very big city, but Binghamton here is like a very small town, so everything is peaceful and slow down, and we have our wonderful nature reserve, which I love pretty much. When I lived on campus during my first year here, you can see squirrels and deers on the way to the campus, which really make my day actually. And our students, like our classmates and teachers here, are very friendly to us. Like they will never judge you or based on where you come from or judge like your English skills or your oral English. Like students and teachers here are always encourage you to speak more and to express yourself, even though you might feel nervous or you cannot explain yourself that clearly. But we are just making progress here. Like nobody will speak a perfect English when you just arrive here. Like we are all moving step by step, and we will like finally succeed if we like spare no efforts working and always always get ready for reaching out to others. Like if we have any question or any problem, just don't hesitate just to speak to your friends, speak to your advisors, or even your professor may have like several ways to help you. Like you can call our schools. Like I think we have, if you have any like not mental problems, but if you want to have
Our
someone
University
to talk about,
Counseling Center, yep.
yeah, counseling center, yeah, you can also find that. So you are never alone. And for our Chinese students, we definitely have our WeChat groups. So there are more like senior students can help you. Like if you don't know which class to choose, they may have pretty good idea like which class may fit you better. Or if you want to take this class, you can just ask students there, hey, I want to take this class. Have anyone ever taken this class before? How does it feel? Is like you want to know, for example, the workload, is that a really difficult class? Is it suitable for the first year student or second year student? Yeah. So for our Chinese student, I just want to say, just come here and be ready to talk, study, and enjoy the life here.
Thank you so much, Silver. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Jojo, for being on. Jojo, you have any final thoughts?
So I want to share with everyone that I really enjoy the life in the Binghamton, and not only the study but also like the life environment. It's a very quiet, small town, and I feel that everyone is very nice here. So um, I feel like professors are also very nice to us, especially for the international student. I'm taking an education course now, and all of other classmates are Americans. So I feel so nervous in that time. However, I feel that my professor always nice to me, and when I and very free to talk, and he will like say, "Don't worry, you are doing very good." So I feel that I am very good. So also in Binghamton, we have a lot of organization for Chinese students, like CSSA. I'm not part of it, but I feel that they gave us a lot of help. Like recently, they bought a lot of masks and gloves and also some say help for the virus. So every student, Chinese student, get a bag of it. So I feel that living this small town, I feel very safe and I feel very happy. So when you come to Binghamton, I think you will love here. So
Thank you. Thank you so much, girls. And thanks, Mark, again for being on. This has been really wonderful. I hope that our students have gotten a lot out of this, and you can feel free to ask us any questions. I know I shared Mark's information here, and I'm going to share our international email as well, too. international@binghamton.edu. So feel free to reach out to us. I know this situation is constantly changing, but we do hope that you'll join us in the fall. We look forward to engaging with you and working with you, even if it's virtually. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful evening.